Let's see. There's Blair. Miss Blair, you are first on the ballot, so give us your 1-minute opening statement.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maris Blair. I'm running to be your representative for Texas House Representative District 15. A few things you might want to know about me. One, I am a Christian. My Christian values run strong. They take part in every day of my decisions for myself, my family, and the community, and they will continue for every decision I make in the future. I am a former educator. Education is very close to my heart. It is a passion, and I am a very strong vocal advocate for our public school system. I'm here to support it and help it. We've got some work to do. There's more to do. We can reform it and make it better. And also, I'm a practicing attorney. I've been an attorney in this district for 18 years. I work in this district, and I'm proud of this district. And I want to be your representative to truly represent you. You, the people in the district. Know your issues. Know what's going on. Ask questions and to listen. Thank you.
Okay. Representative Toth.
I'm Steve Toth. I have been married to Miss Babette for 37 years. We have 3 kids, 2 grandkids, but they live in Wisconsin, so we never get to see them because of this whole COVID silliness thing. I am chairman of the board of Mighty Oaks, and we help veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a Christ-centered approach to helping veterans. I am an ordained minister. I've done marriage and family life counseling for 30 years, and yes, I represent you in the Texas legislature, which has been a real honor and a blessing for me to do that. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of is Cassandra and Braden and Trent, because they have servants' hearts. And in one night, 1.4 million people got thrown out of work because of the shutdown. And they went to work in a big way on behalf of this county to make sure that people that became disenfranchised by the Texas Workforce Commission got a paycheck. God bless you.
Okay, Ms. Blair. During the last legislative session, some reorganization plans were being considered regarding the courts of appeals in Texas. Consideration was being given to consolidating some of the courts, which would have included doing away with and merging the 9th District Court of Appeals with the 1st and 14th Courts of Appeal in Houston. What is your opinion of such a move?
I would not support merging the Court of Appeals, because right now we do have quite a few cases that do go up to the Court of Appeals. You'd be surprised by how many cases come out of all of our courts here in Montgomery County, because somebody's going to appeal and they've got to go somewhere and they've got to be heard in a quickly and timely manner. But if you start merging those courts, you're going to have less of the judges and you're going to have a fuller docket. So I don't believe that's a good way to manage the court system, going and merging those courts of appeals. So I would be personally opposed to that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Toth. Representative Toth.
It's all right, that works.
Whoever.
I'm against it. Let me tell you why. The motivation for doing this was redistricting. The Republicans wanted to make sure that we didn't lose all of Harris County. And so they wanted to use Republicans from Montgomery County to keep from losing those seats. The problem is it would have diluted us in Montgomery County. It wasn't a good move. So yes, it's not the right way to do it. At the end of the day, Harris County's got to get their stuff together as a party, Republican Party, so that they can regain the stature that they once had, that they've lost. They should not do it by draining the strength out of Montgomery County.
Okay. Representative Toth, what do you feel was your greatest accomplishment, unless you do this last term, as state representative?
Thank you. Probably the thing that, it would have to be critical race theory, banning critical race theory. That was my bill. At the beginning of the session, no one wanted to carry that bill. And no one wanted anything to do with it. They were afraid of standing in front of the Democrats for 2 or 3 hours and being called a racist. And it was difficult. And it was a ton of work. It was a yo-yo. One day, it looked like we had the votes. The next day, we didn't have the votes. And it was probably one of the most difficult bills that I've ever carried. I carried a bill in my freshman year which banned C-scope. So many of you are aware of the whole shoot, I'm trying to remember what you call it. Common Core, yes, I apologize. So I worked with Barbara Cargill on that bill, and we ended up getting that bill passed. I carried it in the House, Senator Dan Patrick carried it in the Senate, and we passed it. That was difficult. CRT, House Bill 3979, was 5 times harder. But I'm thankful that we got it done. I'm thankful that the governor signed it into law. I'm thankful that he added it to the special call so that we could update the bill in HB 3. But we've still got a lot of work to do. We're not going to pat ourselves on the back and just say this is done. It is not. We have not yet begun to fight on this issue. This is an issue that we all need to take a vested interest in. Not just legislators, but parents as well. We need to be the watchguards to make sure that CRT is not happening in our school by a few rogue teachers. So we've got a lot of work to do.
Ms. Blair, have you been state representative during this last term? Is there a particular bill you would have liked to have seen come forward?
Good question, thank you. You know, instead of saying what I would have done or what I would have done different, then I need to look at what I'm going to do and how I would expand on what we've already done as legislators and the governors. And the thing is, education, again, we are under attack with some of our values in the education system. We have got to protect those, and there's going to be more and more every day. It's not just critical race theory. It has many different evolutions and different names and different meanings and different buzzwords. And they're going to continue to come. Democrats are going to eventually just start finding more and more words that we don't even know what they mean, and somehow it gets in our dictionaries. And so we've got to be ready to fight that. And I will continue that. Because like I said, I'm not here to harm our education system. I'm not here to rip it apart. I'm here to make it stronger and work with our superintendents and work with our school boards and help them get to that point where we give our kids the right to have the proper education. And that was one thing I would expand on. And of course, continue expanding on the border issue. It's not just a crisis, it's a catastrophe. We have got to do something. Sitting here and listening about human trafficking, it will break your heart. It would just make your heart sink in your stomach. And what it does to our local economy, what it does to our education system, our health system, our police force, it just never ends. And then with voter fraud, all of that also still comes from the border. So between education and the border, we're going to have our hands full. And I'm ready to take that challenge on. Thank you.
You know, both of you spoke about education. I'd like you to go get a copy of our last newsletter and read the article on the woke theory about math being racist.
2 + 2 = 4.
Math is now considered racist, ladies and gentlemen. And there was an excellent article in our newsletter, Steve. You might want to look at it. Go ahead.
So it's not really a rebuttal to anything Maris said. I'm just using my rebuttal to comment on what you just shared. So if you go to Washington, D.C., and you go to the African American Museum of History, you will find this entire section on whiteness. And whiteness, one of the things that's defined as whiteness is our academic rigor, which is why academic rigor is they are attempting to take academic rigor out of the school system in favor of what they call action civics, which is ridiculous, which is turning kids into protesters. And the whole thing about math, that math is under fire by this woke culture. They want to remove it from our schools in favor of action civics and I-civics. So yes, I agree completely, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
And I'm going to tell the story on my daughter. I said it at the last meeting. She's 45 now. I don't know how she is. But she was born in 1977, so I wrote her math is anyhow, when she was in first grade, they were testing her for the gifted program. So I picked her up and I said, Lori, I said, how was the test? And she said, oh, Mom, it was easy. And I said, okay, give me an example of one of the questions. She said, 2, 4, 6, 8. No, 2, 3, 4, 8. Which number doesn't belong? And I said, oh, Lori, what number did you say? Thinking she's going to say 3, right? 4. I said, why was it at 4? Well, Mom, it's the only number that doesn't have a curve in it. She's a vice president now. Not at a math company, though. Okay. Which closing statement?
All right, my 1 minute. Well, first of all, again, I appreciate being here in front of you. I'm very humbled by your asking us to come here tonight, sharing food with us. Just quickly, again, I want to be your representative, and I can be your representative and represent you and your issues. I am a conservative consensus builder, and that's what it's going to take when I get to Austin. I will work with other legislators, and I will work with the governor, and I will work with you. That's what I bring to the table. And integrity. When you think of District 15 and the people in Austin think of District 15, I want them to think integrity. I'm bringing that to the table. And in closing, I want to read something I read every morning. Hebrews 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us. And let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Steve.
I want to thank Maris for being here, and I don't know how many more of these that we've got, but I take my hat up to you for putting yourself out there. It's difficult to run for office. It's a lot of work. And anyone that's running and challenging an opponent, it's a lot of work. I want to thank you for the opportunity that y'all have given me to serve you. It was back in 2012, the very first time I stood before you guys, and I had a push card. It was different than this, but it had my cell phone number at the bottom of it. And all these years later, and over the course of this year, I can't count the number of times you guys have reached out to me. And I've put an incredible team in place for our sole purpose of serving you, and I look forward to doing that again in the future. So appreciate you guys being here tonight. God bless you.
Thank you. Next group, to make your way to the back.